Fuck. Sorry about that, everybody. Internet took a shit on me. That sucks. Let me see if everything's still on now. Good lord. Alright. So, I'll take a few seconds. We were talking about the guy that... One second. Allegedly killed Osama bin Laden.
3 people standing there. He didn't have even enough time.
Let's go back to that.
Jumped on him.
And I was saying I find this guy to be disingenuous.
So the guy behind him could get the shot.
Damn.
So and simply because he went this way, I turned this way. And standing 3 feet in front of me is Osama bin Laden, and he's got his hands on Amal, his wife's shoulders. And I don't know what he's doing. He's not surrendering. He's maneuvering somehow. His hands are on her, and I remember thinking, he's taller than I thought. He's skinnier than I thought.
So you knew it was him
right away.
Right away.
That's what you were thinking while you were in a combat situation? Your brain went to, oh, this is tall and fucking skinny. I don't buy it.
His beard is gray. He's not surrendering. He's got to have a suicide.
He had he has sandals that have impeccable leather work on them. The studs, are they brass or maybe gold inlay?
So I shot him twice when he was standing up. I shot him again on the floor,
Did you now?
And then I moved Amal out of the way. So I can hear bin Laden taking his last breath. When I shot him, he fell to the foot of the bed.
Where'd you shoot him?
I shot him in the face 3 times.
This is bullshit. That and...
I just killed the #1 terrorist in the world, and I looked at...
Did you ever kill people in front of their kids?
Yeah.
Sure did, bro. I'm a Navy SEAL. Sure the fuck did, brah. Because that's what they do. Sure the fuck did, brah. Killing people is what I do. It's not how Navy SEALs act at all. Fucking at all.
I killed Osama bin Laden in front of his son. And I thought, and this, we'll get into that mission, but... And
then everybody carried me on their shoulders and cheered for me as they carried me out of the room.
I just killed Osama bin Laden, and I saw his 2-year-old kid, and as a father, I just killed the #1 terrorist in the world, and I looked down at him and I thought, this poor kid has nothing to do with this. And I actually picked him up. You know, it's like...
And took him where?
Put him over next to his mom on the bed. 2 years old, nothing to do with this. He didn't even know how to speak yet.
Come on,
That'll
man.
fuck you up, probably.
Yep, it will.
More than him.
Well, I mean, it's stuff like that comes in waves. Like, I mean,
Did you sleep well?
Not
that
really.
night?
No. I mean, I have a great day. I'm a positive person, but I mean, you can have a minute. I can close my eyes and see bin Laden's bedroom anytime I want. And I think about that dude that I talk about killing in his bedroom. I think about him every day.
Did you ever?
You're lying, bro. I could smell it from a mile away. This guy is not being truthful at all. Well, a bunch of people have been lying about this whole thing. So we went through the whole military hurrah hurrah, got a bunch of recruitment, bunch of young male bodies in the meat grinder, and now comes the money. Where always follow the money, right? The money is spoopy in this. And it's the same thing. There's nothing new under the sun. Look at what's happening in Ukraine right now. It's the exact same thing that happened in 2001. It's a money laundering scheme.
You want to hear another conspiracy theory that you probably don't know? It's going to blow your mind?
Let's do it.
The day before...
all you conspiracy theorists, I did tweet out that I was going to be on InfoWars tomorrow being Tuesday. That got canceled. So disregard that. It was scheduled for a later date, but I'm not going to post that until I know it's going to happen.
Before 9/11, the day before the attacks, Rumsfeld gave a press conference where he talked about trillions of dollars missing. The day Then a plane slams into the very part of the building where they were doing the accounting.
Trillions. You know what trillions? Like, can you even comprehend trillions? Like, I comprehend thousands. That's what I deal in. Nothing more than thousands, be it through a day to a year. It's a TH. But if you're lucky enough to deal with millions, good on you. You're doing pretty well. But billions is a different story. Now, he didn't say billions. He said trillions. I want you to imagine a pile of money that is $1 billion. It's obviously going to be a big pile of money. But what does that, actually look like? What does $1 billion in a pile look like? This is what $1 billion in a pile looks like. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, ocho, nueve. 10 fucking pallets. And those are hundos. That's not singles, fives, tens, 20s, any of those denominations. That is $100 bills worth of $1 billion looks like. All right? That's $1 billion. What's a trillion? A trillion is 1,000 of what you see here. 1,000 groups of 10 pallets. 1,000 billions. And the day before 9/11 took place, Donald Rumsfeld comes to the media and says, we've lost $2.3 trillion. 2,300 packets of these. Is that even a real thing? Does $2.3 trillion even exist? You certainly can't put it on an airplane or in a building. It would be several buildings. What is hold on a sec. $2.3 trillion. Let's say there's 350 million people in America. With all the illegals, it's probably 375. So let's say there's 375 million. How much money is 2.3 trillion divided equally between every man, woman, and child in America? Now, 2.3 trillion is 2 0 0 shit. 2 3 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 boink boink boink. I think that's it. But I did it the wrong way. Fuck. 2 3 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 divided by 375 million. That's $6,133 per every man, woman, and child in the United States. That's a chunk of change. That's a lot of fucking money to just disappear.
Blows up half the fucking building in the Pentagon. Blows up a wall. Donald Rumsfeld was on, where was it, the White House lawn?
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
Okay, now, again, somebody told you that literally, like, right before 9/11 happened, they said they couldn't track $2.3 trillion.
And I'm like, it would make a lot of sense.
No, that didn't happen. That did not happen, but it did happen.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so think about what Kennedy said. Think about what you saw when you saw that Vice movie.
I don't know if you know what he's talking about when he says
Where Dick
think
Cheney.
about what Kennedy said. I don't either, but I assume it's that there are dark forces in the government taking over by covert means. There's a bunch of you-know-what in the banking system and in the war system. And he was killed right after that.
CEO of Halliburton becomes a vice president and gets billions of dollars in no-bid contracts. Now think about what we just saw with Donald Rumsfeld saying they couldn't find $2.3 trillion.
Trillion dollars. It's an unfathomable amount of money. It's fucking stupid. And that's one of those things that it just, why do we let that go? Why do we let something so ridiculous, so preposterous, so obviously a dick in our asses slide? I don't understand it. It reminds me of the Epstein thing. When this guy obviously gets murdered, and the explanation is, oh, both the security guards took a nap at the same time that the cameras took a shit, and we just buy that? Like, why? Which makes me think we deserve all of this. We deserve the plight that has been foisted upon us for not listening to our forefathers when they say things like, and I'll butcher it, but like the tree of freedom must be watered with the blood of patriots. What does that kind of rhetoric mean? Well, that kind of rhetoric means the kind of thing that you cannot articulate on most social media platforms. YouTube definitely included. They might call that kind of rhetoric Fed posting, if you will. And I am no Fed. I believe myself to be way too funny to be a Fed. But those are the solutions to these problems that we have that cannot be spoken. And until we start going to those solutions, I don't think we're going to see a change. Doesn't matter who you vote for. Doesn't matter how much you complain on Twitter. Doesn't matter what podcasts you listen to. We are fucked until we use the Second Amendment and the foundational principles of America and take those to the fullest extent. And the line for which needs to be crossed to use those measures was crossed eons ago. And we didn't do anything about it. We proved ourselves bitch-made. We proved ourselves complacent, much like cattle, farm animals. And I believe we're being treated like farm animals now. So, that day, 2 buildings were hit. No, 3 buildings were hit. No, wait, not 3. 4 buildings were hit. Tower 1, Tower 2, another building that we'll get to later, but the Pentagon as well. Do you guys remember that? A plane apparently hit the Pentagon, and the only video that we have of it, be it 2001, shitty, blurry, all that kind of stuff. I get it. We had Nokia phones, not that many cameras, but I kind of feel like we had a few more audio and visual capturing devices than just a shitty Nokia phone zip tied to a ballast post, which for some reason around the Pentagon is the only form of surveillance that we have. And this video from that Nokia phone zip tied to a Ballard post had to be ripped out of the hands of the surveillance state through means of brutal FOIA requests and a lot of judiciary action. After all that, this is what we have to see the plane that hit the Pentagon. We see a nice Crown Vic model Ford police car entering. And why is it 3 frames per second? That's the best we have at the Pentagon. I'm going to pause it there because there's our plane that is coming in at a very weird angle for a plane. You think if it was a plane, it'd be coming from up here. I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but up here. But this plane is coming from a very low and straight angle, more like what I think a missile would look like. But this is the best video that we have of the Pentagon being attacked on 9/11. And mind you, the Pentagon is protected by how many Air Force bases, underground missile silos with surface-to-air capability, massive amounts of radar surveillance from 24/7 aerial aircraft and satellite coverage over the Pentagon with the highest technology of protection available anywhere. Somehow a plane. Boofy boof. Oh, does that look like a plane? Usually when a plane hits something, it just... that kind of explosion, that's kind of funny, right? When I look at the planes hitting the buildings on 9/11, they kind of just initially smash into it, and any explosion is expelled out the other side, or at least until that plane has even been given a chance to explode or the fuel in it to ignite. This is immediate. Like a missile hit it. Who knows? It's pretty spoopy, huh? So that was the attack on the Pentagon. But I mentioned there were not 3. It was not Tower 1, Tower 2, and the Pentagon that were destroyed on 9/11. There was also Building 7. Now, Building 7 is the building that I think Rogan was referring to, where they carried the accounting elements for that 2.3 trillion that ended up missing. Not really in... it's a relative term in the general vicinity of Tower 1 and Tower 2. I mean, it's New York. It's a few blocks away. But nobody talks about why this fucking building just came down like this. Like a complete controlled demolition. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein's prison guards, they went night-night. And both of the cameras just took a shit. Nothing we could do about it. Oh yeah, and this guy, there was like fire or something. I don't know. There was like a fire and it made the building made out of concrete and steel fall down so like this. And we just bought it. So I guess we deserve all this. Fuck it. If we're going to eat it, we're going to get it. And they're giving it to us. 9/11, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't stop there. You guys remember Jesse? He took a shit as far as, I don't know, they got to him somehow. His vaccine rhetoric got pretty weird recently, but he used to be kind of based. What did Jesse have to say about it?
This building fell and it hadn't fallen yet.
If you're trying to make
Start
Jesse, seems we're not.
What would you have done on September the 12th, 2001? What would you have done if you'd been president?
I'm going to get a beer.
What would I have done?
Yeah.
I would have done a legitimate investigation to find out what exactly happened on 9/11. How did they know who did this so quickly like they did Lee Harvey Oswald? How quick they knew Lee Harvey Oswald killed Kennedy.
Because the people who did it were identified and we knew who they were.
Well, then why couldn't we have stopped them beforehand if they were identified and we knew who they were?
It was a failure of intelligence. Everyone's accepted
No, it
that.
wasn't. We knew before with Condoleezza Rice's memo on August 6th when it stated right in the memo, bin Laden to steal planes and run them into buildings. And more stuff is coming out now also, how much the Bush administration ignored the intelligence. It was almost like they ignored it because they wanted it to happen.
Oh, come off it, Jesse.
No, not oh, come off it. Wait a minute. Every war fought starts with a false flag operation.
You can't, in all seriousness, sit there and try and make out anybody.
He is right about that. Gulf of Tonkin, Vietnam, 9/11, Afghanistan and Iraq, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, let me ask you this, Piers. Wait a minute. Let me ask you something. How much studying have you actually done of 9/11 other than what the government's told you and what mainstream media has told you? I've been studying it 4 years.
I was editor of a national newspaper.
I've talked to
people.
Wait a minute.
In depth every day for 5-6 months.
Really?
So I know a lot about it.
Well,
and one
then
thing
how
I do
come?
know is
Let me ask you this then.
Pierce Morgan is such a fucking
cannot say that any member of the Bush administration knew it was going to happen or wanted it to happen. It's a ridiculous thing to say.
Ridiculous. Okay, let's talk about your BBC. I have a tape of a BBC reporter broadcasting directly back to England talking about a third building has collapsed, World Trade Center Building 7.
Oh, no.
Talks for 7 minutes.
Oh, no.
All the while she's talking, World Trade Center Building 7 is still standing.
Oh, no.
Right?
Did you hear that? 7 minutes early? 7 minutes early, they're reporting this? That's kind of weird, right? To be reporting this 7 minutes early when it hasn't happened yet? How did they know? It's kind of strange. Let me hear that again.
Talks for 7 minutes. All the while she's talking, World Trade Center Building 7 is still standing right behind her. It didn't fall for another half hour. Yet they were doing a pre-broadcast back to England that, yes, it's true,
you need to
that
take a
this
break
building fell and it hadn't fallen yet.
If you're trying to make out the...
So Jesse's saying, and it is true, that the BBC had an on-site newscast where the reporter claimed that Building 7, there's another name, the English call it, which is the real name of the building, but Tower 7 had fallen, but that report came out on live television 7 minutes before the building had actually collapsed. And the reporter is seen given this information in front of the building as it stood. And we ate it. Like Epstein's cameras fucking up. Like $2.3 trillion disappearing.
British Broadcasting Company, one of the most respected news organisations in the world, was inventing huge buildings falling over. You need to have a break, Jesse. We'll come back after the break, and we'll talk about Israel and Iran.
Are you kidding me?
Israel.
This is a fact, my friend.
But I did notice something at the beginning of...
Jesse,
what
would you have done?
What would you have done, Jesse?
On September the 12th, 2001. What would you have done if you'd been president?
What would I have done?
Yeah.
I would have done a legitimate investigation to find out what exactly happened on 9/11.
Who promised that? Let me play it again. You guys listen carefully here.
What would you have done if you'd been president?
What would I have done?
Yeah.
I would have done a legitimate investigation to find out what exactly happened on 9/11.
I hear you, bud. Who promised us that? Do you remember? Can you tell me who had promised a legitimate reopening and reinvestigation on what really happened at 9/11? Just racking my brain trying to think who it was. There's only so many recent presidential candidates. Some of which that you fucking love at a cultish level. And that might have been one of the reasons that I fucking voted for him twice.
What would you have done if you'd been president?
What would I have done?
Yeah.
I would have done a legitimate investigation to find out what exactly happened on 9/11.
Yeah, some people fucking had that opportunity and said explicitly, and I remember that they were going to do that. And they didn't fucking do it. Among other things that they didn't fucking do. That a lot of you fucking retards still worship the guy over. I'm not doing it again. I don't give a fuck if you don't want to listen to this show because I don't want to vote for that orange again. Fuck him. No wall. Printed zillions of dollars and gave it to Big Pharma. Operation Warp Speed. A lot of you fucking retards got the shot too because he told you to do it. Why? The dude couldn't even get his Twitter back. And recently, he was on Tucker Carlson and said that Jeffrey Epstein probably killed himself. It's not going to work, guys. Will I vote for him again to make gas a couple bucks cheaper? Probably. But just for that. Not because I think that fuck is going to save America. Because he's not. There's zero chance of that. And if you think he is, you're fucking retarded. Building 7.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New
This is the BBC report of Building 7 being reported to have fallen down before it had actually fallen down.
York. You might have heard a few moments ago was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing, and indeed it has.
That's what they call it, over the pond, the Salomon Brothers building.
It seems that this was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks.
It's been weakened.
We find out more now about that from our correspondent, Jane Stanley. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy. As you can see behind me, the Trade Center appears to be still burning. We see these huge clouds of smoke and ash, and we know that behind that there's an empty piece of what was a very familiar New York skyline, a symbol of the financial prosperity of this city, but completely disappeared now, and New York is still unable to take on board what has happened to them today.
As you can
Presumably
see.
there were very...
Right behind me head, right here. It's completely disappeared. I mean, are we on a 7-minute delay? I thought we were. Fuck.
Few people in the Salomon building when it collapsed. I mean, there were, I suppose, fears of possible further collapses around the area.
That's what you would hope, because they don't really know where to turn. That's the very sad thing. I think there's going to be lots of very, very traumatized people that has hit them very, very hard.
Jane, I think many of us, when we heard the news, perhaps on the radio earlier today, were completely flabbergasted by it and just couldn't comprehend it. I mean, it almost sounded too far-fetched.
Yeah. So, come on, guys. It's one thing after another, after another, after another, after another, and we just keep fucking eating it. You know, a very close friend of mine, we were talking about CBDC, central bank digital currency. And this person is actually fairly on the left. A lot of you guys gotta quit looking at other people just because they're not of your particular political persuasion as enemies and others. It's part of the plan, if you haven't realized that by now, for you to do that. And if you're still doing it, you're a fucking sucker. We're all getting fucked. And the only possible way that we could unfuck this is to get together and fuck them. And that's the least thing that they want. That's the kind of rhetoric that will get me kicked off of YouTube. Telling people to come together and butt fuck the people that are butt fucking us. But somebody from the other side of the aisle, if you will, we're talking about central bank digital currency, and I asked them, like, what would you do when there's no way that there's no cash anymore, zero cash, like it's every buck is tracked online by the government. They're just going to automatically suck out every tax dollar cent that they want out of it, and you have zero autonomy and privacy. And this person on the left said, and I think about this all the time, then we ride at dawn. Then we ride at fucking dawn. Now, I didn't say that is not a call to violence, saying that we ride at dawn. It is not a Fed post to say that we ride at dawn, but we have not explored the riding at dawn option at all. And you know what's better than one side riding at dawn? Both sides riding at dawn. Something to think about. Back to 9/11. Boom! I don't mean to laugh, but this shit is fucking... It's wicked pissa. Let's start this video from the beginning. This is what I saw in high school that morning. The fucking sound, man. The sound just gets me. Like a jet, commercial jet that typically doesn't go that fast, that doesn't have the engines pumped up like that when it's going down like this. Usually when it's at that throttle, it's climbing, you know, fighting against gravity and wind resistance. That is the sound of a gigantic commercial jet going down at fucking full throttle. Just the balls. Every time it's fucking, it's crazy to watch.
From the front angle before, but not from this angle.
That's a badass camera for... Ugh. Burp. Yeah, I was saying that's a cool fucking camera for 2001. I mean, this looks like looks like your cell phone today, your cheap Walmart Android cell phone, but in 2001, this photo right here was the shit. Pow! Wild fucking footage. That's some real shit, man. Let's look at more. It's a little taste of New York for you. Don't start spreading the news. What's all those papers up there? There's something up at Tower 2 here at Shabbat dinner. Drink it up. All the shit on the ground that was not on the ground, just up in the air at one point, is wild to me. Like the stuff that you might have found from the first fucking pop. Now, one of the things that they said they found on the ground was like the passports of every hijacker somehow survived the giant ball of fire and the impact, and they found them perfectly intact. I don't buy that. I think the audio starts getting shitty in this video. And I don't want to watch any like people jumping out and shit like that. That legit does bum me out. I know I've made jokes and shit tonight, but it is heartbreaking what those people who were actually there went through and what our country has gone through. But I'm out of fucks to give. Unless you guys insist on riding at dawn with me, you're pretty much against me. And I don't give a fuck anymore. God, look at this is where the audio fucks up. I'm going to stop. But those old-timey, everything looks so old from 2001. I guess it is. But yeah, that's 9/11 for you guys. It was a turning point. It was one of the first dominoes that kicked off all the shit that you see today. And we're just taking it right up the poop chute like we did everything else. Like we did bioweapons being fed to us, like we did inflation, mandatory vaccinations, and whatever else they're going to shove up our ass, we're probably going to take it. But with that being said, I still find humor in it all. And other people still found humor in it. One person was the late, the great Norm Macdonald, who had the best 9/11 jokes ever. And I personally will miss him more than 5 9/11s worth of people. Please come back, Norm. We need you. We need you now more than ever.
Just because I masturbated to that picture of a guy falling to his death on 9/11 doesn't mean I have to share it.
Hey, for the 9th consecutive year, Nick, JetBlue Airlines ranked first for satisfaction among all North American airlines. But you know what ranked least in satisfaction? 9/11 Airlines. What a terrible name for an airline. It reminds me of that tragedy.
Oh, 9/11.
Yeah, no. Oh, don't laugh at 9/11
What?
again. 9/11. I tried to tell him not
Way
to
to go,
laugh.
Adam.
I know. I walked through blood and bones in the streets of Manhattan trying to find my brother.
Jesus.
Yeah, he was in northern Canada. Walked through blood and bones. I tried to tell him not
Way
to
to go,
laugh.
Adam.
I know. I walked through blood and bones.
I miss
in
you,
the streets of
Norm.
Manhattan trying to
I miss you so much.
find my brother.
Jesus.
Yeah, he was in northern Canada.
Well, let's finish it out with the rest of what Norm has for us. And then I'm going to end this show because it doesn't get much better than him. I guess
I
nothing.
was laughing and joking about it like only 4 weeks ago when I told you my story about walking ankle deep in blood and bones to try to find
the blood and bones.
That was kind of funny.
I was
Yeah, that does sound
yeah,
funny.
I was in the
Blood and bone everywhere.
You.
The imagery, the comical imagery of bones
you know, was in
hitting you on the
Costa Rica
shins as
partying
you're
with
trying
friends.
to traverse
I was walking through
ground
the
zero.
blood and the bones
So you were put off by that, Jeff?
in Manhattan. A little bit.
I can't believe you're
And
right.
I had to get new pants because of the blood and the bones.
All right,
Just now,
you
or
get the
back-
point. All right, you guys. That's all I got in me for tonight. I got to take a piss. I got to go to bed. I'm gonna leave you with the America's favorite parody song right now, and then shut the stream off. It looks like I will be on InfoWards at some point, probably a week from now, and I'll keep you posted on that. But tomorrow's interview has been canceled. But this has been the Ryan Harkness Show. If you enjoyed what you saw tonight, you could send a donation at buymeacoffee.com/Harkness Show. Harkness is spelled like darkness with an H instead of a D. And you can follow me on Twitter at Ryan Harkness _. That's going to be it for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out of here. Good night. I've been smelling my hole. I just got a sex change. It's already infected. It smells like shit and decay. Really good chance I'm gonna one day. At least I'll get more attention than all those normie gays. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to when a creature like me believes that it's true that he could just wake up and not be a dude. But he is. Oh, he is living as a new girl with a Y chromosome. You ask which men can be women, I'll tell you which can. The ones that trade their pole for a hole, and that hole really stinks, and it's covered in goo, and it smells like a combo of roadkill and poop. If I don't dilate it, it will heal shut and fill in. Tell me which man can be women. There's a global mission to turn peepees to giners. They'll do it to minor apple the size of a planet. My name used to be Craig, but I changed it to Janet. Got brainwashed by the internet, left holding the bag. I cut my penis off. I could have just been a It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to when a creature like me believes that it's true that he could just wake up and not be a dude. But he is. Oh, he is living as a new girl with a Y chromosome. You ask which man can be women, I'll tell you which can. The ones that trade their pole for a hole, and that hole really stinks, and it's covered in goo, and it smells like a combo of roadkill and poop. If I don't dilate it, it will heal shut and fill in. Tell me which man can be where man. I've been smelling my hole. I got a sex change, and now I regret it. I should have just been fucking gay. Just been fucking gay.